So thanks again for returning to Classic Dirt Bike TV as we continue with our coverage of the 2023 Helsington Classic Scramble. So let's not waste any time and get straight into our next race, which is race 18, the Twin Shock 250 class. Look out for some quite quick riders in this class as the riders leave the line. It looks like Ryan Ireland's made quite a good start there as they go into turn 1. So as they head up the hill, it is indeed number 43, Ryan Ireland, in first position. I think that could be number 69, David Wood there in second position on that RM 250 Suzuki. But it's Ryan Ireland, your race leader. I think David Wood is in fact in second position as the rest of the chasing pack make their way through. And there's your race leader, number 43, Ryan Ireland. So we've got a change of second place rider already as they begin lap 1. And I think that could be number 2, Sean Muir, who's moved up into second position on his Honda CR250 red Rocket. So currently it's still number 43, Ryan Ireland, your race leader. Second is number 2, Sean Muir, and it's David Wood in third place there on that RM 250 Suzuki as these three riders come round to complete lap 1. And again, we did have quite a healthy entry for this 250 class. I think it was about 25 bikes at least who entered for this class alone, so you can see that there's still plenty interest from riders to ride these 250s. Chris Winder just making his way through there, number 13. I can see that Chris Cannon there, number 81, is quite well down the pack in this race. I don't know if Chris has had a bad start off the line, but he's certainly well down the pack. So we are picking up our race leader once again, number 43, Ryan Ireland on the 250 Honda, who leads Sean Muir in second position on a 250 red Rocket. David Wood is still currently in third place on his RM 250 Suzuki. So we're picking up our race leader once again, number 43, Ryan Ireland, who comes round to complete lap 2. Ryan, of course, will be taking part in the Twin Shock class later on a big 500 Honda, so look out for Ryan racing against the big boys. Second place now, I think, is actually David Wood, who seems to have passed Sean Muir for that second position. So it's now David Wood, number 69 there on the Suzuki in second position. There's Chris Winder, number 13 in fourth. So as our race leaders come towards us, it's still number 43, Ryan Ireland, who leads number 69, David Wood on the RM Suzuki. Sean Muir is currently in third, but he's just about to be passed by number 13, that's Chris Winder. Now that number 13 bike there of Chris Winder's, I'm pretty sure is a 125 and not a 250. So Chris is certainly working that little CR125 to keep up with these 250s, although I'm not entirely sure why he's actually in there riding with the bigger 250s, but he's certainly without doubt giving these bigger bikes a run for their money. But no mistaking who's at the front of the pack. It's still number 43, Ryan Ireland, who leads number 69, David Wood on that 250 Suzuki. Chris Winder is certainly closing in on David Wood, so this little 125 is certainly being worked by Chris Winder, so you could see a challenge for the second place from Chris Winder on that very quick little 125. Now this video, of course, is part 3 of the highlights from Helsington 2023, and all of the remaining races that we filmed on the day will be shown in the last and final video in part 4. So there's still quite a few more races still to come for you to take a look at. So there's your race leader just going through. Ryan Ireland, number 43. It's still David Wood in second position on the RM250 Suzuki. Chris Winder is right on David Wood's back wheel on that little CR125. But as our race leader begins his last and final lap of this race, it's still number 43, Ryan Ireland, who is out in front. Second place now is Chris Winder. So Chris Winder is now past the 250s of David Wood and Sean Muir to take that second place position. So Chris Winder is certainly motoring on this much smaller 125 bike. So we have just less than half a lap to go in this race. It's still number 43, Ryan Ireland, who is your race leader, and he comes down the hill for the very last time to cruise to the checkered flag. But we want to see who's going to take that second place position, and is in fact Chris Winder on the little 125 who's going to take that second position from number 69, David Wood. So that of course brings us on to race 19. This is the twin shock over 60s class, basically the veterans of twin shock racing. And even although some of these riders may be maturing in their years, they're still pretty quick riders for over 60. So as they leave the line and head up the hill for the first time, we'll pick up our race leader as he comes through between the trees. And I think it could be number 62. I think that's Chris Woodward who's taken the early lead of this race. So if we look to the far side of the track, it is indeed number 62, Chris Woodward. Second is the Scotsman, Paul Chiappa. Number 2 on the 81-490 Michael. So as our race leader heads to the bottom part of the track, it is indeed number 62, Chris Woodward. Second is number 2, Paul Chiappa. Third is number 93, that's Nigel Sowerby, who is currently in that third place position. Number 51 was just going through there, that's Martin Stokes. Still Paul Chiappa, number 2 in second place, Nigel Sowerby in third, and I think that was number 185 in fourth place. It's Gary Morley on his Yamaha 250. So let's get back to our race leader. It's number 62, Chris Woodward. I think Chris is riding a 480 Honda CR machine from, I think it's 1983, this bike, but as you can see, these 480 Hondas were very quick bikes in their day. In fact, still are very quick machines in the twin shock class. So it's Chris Woodward, your race leader. Second should be number 2, Paul Chiappa from my hometown of Dunfermline in Fife. So it's Chris Woodward who heads up the hill to complete another racing lap. As you can see, the weather here at Helsington this year has been absolutely fantastic. We had those big thunderstorms on the Saturday night, but it's wetted the track sufficiently to keep the dust at bay. As we take a look at number 93, Nigel Sowerby in third position. Nigel's riding that 1981 490 Mega 2 Michael. So this has been a good ride here by Nigel in third position. But it's still this man here, number 62, Chris Woodward, or Woody, as he's more commonly known to his friends. Paul Chiappa is still there in second position, approaching 65 years of age now, Paul, but as you can see, still quick on one of these big Micos. Now, altogether we had 12 different racing classes here at this year's Helsington Classic Scramble, although some of those classes, of course, were combined into a single race so that we didn't have to run 12 individual races for each class. But of course, with the wonder of modern technology and every single bike being fitted with a transponder, it certainly made it so much easier to score all of the different riders into their own individual racing classes. So here's your race leader, number 62, Chris Woodward on the 480 Honda. Looks like Chris has got quite a comfortable lead there over this man here in second position, Paul Chiappa, number 2. So we're just waiting to pick up our race leader as he starts his last and final lap of this Twin Shock over 60s class race. It's still number 62, Chris Woodward on the 480 Honda. This has been quite a comfortable ride for Chris. It looks like Paul Chiappa is a bit too far behind to make a challenge on this last and final lap, but this has been quite a good ride here by Chris as he cruises his way to the checkered flag. Just coming down the hill there in second position, it's going to be Paul Chiappa. Third place is, it looks like it's going to go to that man there, number 93, Nigel Sowerby. Number 185 again is Gary Morley, who is in fourth position. Looks like Gary may have a go at Nigel Sowerby before the end of this race, but it looks like Paul Chiappa's stalled his Micro going into that turn, so that's going to make Nigel Sowerby your second place finisher with Gary Morley in third. Okay, so that brings us on to race 20, the Twin Shock age 45 to 50 years of age, the relative youngsters of Twin Shock racing, but got some quick riders again in this class. Look out for the likes of number 3, Willie Burgess, who has been riding very well this afternoon, so look out for Willie on that blue Mego Michael. So as the riders leave the line, I think it is a good start there by number 3, Willie Burgess, as the riders begin lap 1. So as the riders begin lap 1, Willie Burgess is already beginning to stretch the legs of that big 500 or 490 Micro. So it's still Willie Burgess, your race leader, and I think it could be number 777, that's Ewan Johnson, who is currently in second position, but Willie Burgess already on his way there, so is indeed number 777, Ewan Johnson in second position, and Ewan's riding that Bill Brown 490 Micro. But it's still number 3, Willie Burgess, your race leader. Ewan Johnson is in second position. It's Craig Smith who's currently in third. Let's try and pick up some of the other riders. Number 17 going through there is Mike van der Meer, and we can also see John Smith just going through there, number 36 on his big 500 Honda. But it's still Willie Burgess, your race leader. Here's the battle for second and third place between Ewan Johnson, number 777, and number 25, Craig Smith. So a good scrap going on here for this second and third place positions. But Willie Burgess is certainly opening up an even larger gap to these two battlers in second and third. Ewan Johnson on the big Micro there in front, with Craig Smith from Dunfermline, again in my hometown, in third position. Craig, of course, is one of the top Twin Shock riders in Scotland at the moment, so he's certainly showing his skill and speed as he's trying to chase down Ewan Johnson for that second place position. So as the riders come down to complete another lap, it's still number 3 Willie Burgess who leads. Number treble 7 Ewan Johnson in second position, with Craig Smith currently in third. Whoops, looks like Mike van der Meer has stalled his 490 Michael going into the turn there, so hopefully we'll get that bike fired up quickly. So here's your race leader heading up the hill. It's number 3 Willie Burgess, who's already won at least a couple of races here this afternoon, so Willie riding very well here at this Helsington racetrack. Willie Burgess, of course, riding that Maygo Michael. I'm not exactly sure as to why he named it a Maygo Michael, but I'm assuming that's a bit of tongue-in-cheek concerning the bike. It may go, or then again, it may not. But we're looking at our second placed rider now, so it looks like Craig Smith has passed Ewan Johnson for that second place position. So it's Craig Smith now, number 25, in second position, with Ewan Johnson currently in third. As we take a look at number 155 there, that's Andrew Barnes, also on a 490 German Michael. And in that last shot there, it doesn't look like Mike van der Meer has managed to fire up that 490 Michael when he stalled it into the turn, so he's still trying to get that bike fired up, but certainly no problems at all for this man here, number 3 Willie Burgess, who is currently on his way to yet another win here at the Helsington Classic Scramble. Looks like an old bike there doing some smoking. There's some kind of mechanical problem wrong with that machine, but Willie Burgess certainly cruising to the checkered flag here. But Willie's certainly got a decent gap to himself and second place man, number 25, Craig Smith. So when Willie comes down the hill and crosses the finish line, he'll be starting his last and final lap of this race. Number 46 there, that's Paul Bethel, and he's riding that big 540 Husqvarna TC, the big 4-stroke thumper machine. And again, these big 4-stroke Husqvarnas, big powerful brute of a machine to ride around these tracks, but it looks like Willie Burgess is that far ahead now that he could stop for a cup of coffee or a pint of beer just before he crosses the finish line. So Willie Burgess absolutely cruising here to another race win. But certainly another very dominant performance from Willie on this big 490 Michael. Craig Smith is still in second position here as he heads towards the checkered flag, so another good performance here by the young man Craig Smith on the Michael. But it's going to be a win for number 3 Willie Burgess, and as Craig Smith comes down the hill to take the checkered flag, he's going to finish in a well-deserved second position. So that brings us quite nicely onto race 21. These are the twin shock under age 45 age group. Basically, these are the young guns of the twin shock racing class, but that's been a good start there by number 25 Jamie Law. Number 18 Michael Smith is currently your race leader. Jamie Law is in second, Mark Fulton is in third, so as you can see, some very quick riders in this class. So as they head to the far side of the track on lap 1, it's number 25 Jamie Law who leads Mark Fulton, number 48. Michael Smith is currently in third position, and in fourth we have Chris Winder, who's now out on one of his Hondas. So there's your race leader, number 48, Mark Fulton. Jamie Law is still second. It looks like Chris Winder has now moved up into third position. So as they come round to complete lap one, it's number 48, Mark Fulton, second, 25, Jamie Law, third, Chris Winder is in third position, Michael Smith is currently in fourth. Number 55, just coming up the hill there, is Keith Barnes on that lovely big CCM. That was one of the bikes that we had a look at in our paddock walkabout, but it looks like Mark Fulton is still your race leader. Second place now is Chris Winder, so it looks like Chris is past. Whoa! Oh dearie me! I don't know if Chris caught the back wheel of Jamie Law's bike there, but it certainly whipped Chris off that big Honda. So as it stands, it's still this man here, number 48, Mark Fulton, on the Stuart Bland 500 Honda, who leads. Number 25, Jamie Law, who's also riding one of those big 500 two-stroke Honda machines. Here's your race leader, Mark Fulton. Jamie Law there in second position. Jamie Law is absolutely flying on that big two-stroke 500 Honda, so I think in the next lap or so we could maybe see a challenge to Mark Fulton for that pole position. So Jamie Law certainly on his way here, but it's still Mark Fulton, number 48, in first position as he makes his way down from that hill. Mark's also very quick, of course, an ex-Works Kawasaki rider back in the day. There's number 25 in second position, Jamie Law, and as you can see, Jamie is certainly closing in on Mark Fulton. Number 43 again is Ryan Ireland, this time of course riding a big 500 Honda and not his 250 that he raced in a previous race. So it's still number 48 Mark Fulton, but you can see that Jamie Law is certainly closing in on the big Honda of Mark Fulton. So I think we're going to see a pass here as we go. Oh dearie, what a move that was. There was certainly some manoeuvre there from number 25 Jamie Law. Went bombing along that straight and then just took Mark Fulton on the outside as they went into the turn. So Jamie Law is absolutely on it and on this big 500 Honda. So it's Mark Fulton now in second position. We'll have to wait and see if Mark can reply to that challenge from Jamie Law and maybe take back that pole position. But Jamie Law is certainly moving on this big 500 Honda. And it looks like the end of the race for Michael Smith, because he's got a broken front wheel spindle, which is a bit of a shame because Michael was going well on that old Michael machine. So we're back to the battle for positions 1 and 2 between number 25 Jamie Law and number 48 Mark Fulton. And this of course is the last and final lap of this race, so Jamie Law certainly in command here. I don't think Mark's going to get close enough to make a challenge before the end of this race, so just a few turns to go here for this very talented and very quick rider, number 25 Jamie Law. So another cracker of a race from Jamie. Mark Fulton is still in second position, but I think Mark's not going to be close enough to pass Jamie Law, so it looks like it's going to be Jamie's first win of the day, and very well deserved as well, because he's ridden an absolute cracker of a race. So as he comes up to take the checkered flag, it's a win for number 25 Jamie Law with Mark Fulton in second position. It's going to be Ryan Ireland who comes up the hill to take third place. Okay, so next up we are back to the vintage classes. This is race 22 for the pre-60s, pre-65s, and of course the pre-68s. And it looks like we've got Craig Holmes back out in this race. Remember, Craig had that little shunt just before the start and finish line in the previous race with Simon Chell, but looks like Craig's okay and he's back out in this next race. So as they leave the line, would you believe it's that man again, Andy Hinchcliffe on the twin port at CZ, who's shot into the lead. And I think it's number 98 who's in second position. That's Liston Bell. Looks like Lewis Bell is currently in third, but it's certainly Andy Hinchcliffe. But Liston Bell is just past him going down the hill there, so it's now Liston Bell, your race leader, on that big 4-stroke Jawa single-cylinder machine. Now, previously we had 5 laps of this Helsington racetrack, but the organisers now have reduced the laps to 4 laps for each race due to the time getting quite tight and being able to fit in the 30 races that are scheduled for this event. But oops, number 13, that's Robin Chadwick on his lovely Rickman Triumph, but you have to put the chain on that back sprocket, Robin, if you want that bike to move. So here's a scrap at the front of this pack between Andy Hinchcliffe and number 98 Liston Bell. Liston looks like he's going to have another go at exactly the same place he passed him on the previous lap, but this time couldn't make it stick, so it's still at number 224 Andy Hinchcliffe on that very quick, light and nimble Czechoslovakian twin-port CZ bike. So it's still currently Liston Bell, number 98, in second, with Lewis Bell at number 9 in third. But this is another good ride here by this very talented rider, Andy Hinchcliffe. Liston Bell just keeping in touch there on the big Jawa machine. So as our race leaders make their way down from the hill, I'm not sure if Liston Bell has some kind of mechanical issue with that big Jawa, because he's certainly slowed as he comes up to cross the finish line. So it looks like Lewis Bell is closing in on his older brother, so it looks like Lewis could take that second place position from his older brother Liston, which he in fact does. So it's all down to Lewis now to see if he can make any headroads into that lead of Andy Hinchcliffe on the 2-stroke CZ bike. And Lewis once again, of course, riding one of those big, I was going to say big 4-stroke Jawa machines, but it seemed to be smoking like an old BSA Bantam. But there's your race leader looking again quite comfortable at the front of this pack, number 224 Andy Hinchcliffe. So Andy's certainly on his way to what could be another race win. As it stands, it's still this man here, number 9 Lewis Bell, as he crosses the line to start his last and final lap. I think Liston Bell is still circulating in this race, but quite a way down the track, so it looks like Liston still has some kind of mechanical issue, but certainly no problems like that for this man here, Andy Hinchcliffe, who is absolutely cruising around this racetrack on that twin-port CZ. But Andy's of course riding in 2 different classes here at Helsington this weekend. He's riding this twin-port CZ and of course his little CR250 Honda Elsinore in the pre-1974 class. So it's still Lewis Bell, number 9, on the big 4-stroke Jawa, who's currently in second position. But it's going to be another win for Andy Hinchcliffe on the big twin-port CZ bike, and it's going to be Lewis Bell here who's going to come up to take that second place position. So another good ride here by Lewis Bell. So that brings us on to race 23, the pre-74s up to and over 250cc. Looks like a good start there by Sam Dickinson on that big B50 500 BSA. So Sam Dickinson leads at number 224 Andy Hinchcliffe, who this time of course is out on his little 250 Honda Elsinore, but it's certainly at number 90 Sam Dickinson with the early lead. Chris Story just making his way through. Andy Malik, number 43 on the CZ. But as they start lap 1, it's number 224 Andy Hinchcliffe who leads at number 90 Sam Dickinson. Chris Chell is currently in third position. And it looked like it was Chris Story who was in fourth as they made their way to the far side of the track. So Andy Hinchcliffe certainly getting a workout here at this Helsington 2023 Scramble, because he's just won that previous race and now he's jumped onto his 250 Honda Elsinore and leading this pre-1974 class. At number 90 there, Sam Dickinson in second position. Chris Chell, number 264, is currently in third. So these two certainly having a bit of a go at each other. Chris Chell on the Shenny BSA 500 and Chris Story just behind there on the light and nimble 2-stroke 250 Honda Elsinore. Number 125 just coming through there is Ian Stainton on the big 4-stroke Alan Clues Stroker. Number 43 again is Andy Malik from Scotland on the CZ. But here's your race leader once again, number 224 Andy Hinchcliffe on the 250 Elsie. And I'm not sure if there was a Man of the Meeting award being presented here at Helsington this year, but that man, Andy Hinchcliffe, would certainly get my vote in that regard. As we take a look at third place man, number 264 Chris Chell on the 4-stroke Shenny BSA. Number 125 in fourth is Ian Stainton riding that Clues Stroker. So it's still Andy Hinchcliffe, your race leader, as we take a look at number 280, Chris Story in second position. As I said, myself and Chris had a bit of a coming together trackside, but thankfully both of us were okay. As you can see, Chris is back out racing once again, but no damage done to either party, thankfully, but certainly still managed to get the shot. But it's Chris Story here in second position. He's being chased, of course, by Chris Chell, number 264 on that beautiful Shenny BSA. In fact, this is a bike that we may have a closer look at on my YouTube channel in coming weeks, so look out for that, because this is a beautiful looking 4-stroke scrambler, this machine here of Chris Chell's. So as Chris makes his way up the hill to start his last and final lap, he's currently in third position. As we take a look at our race leader as he cruises around the racetrack to another win, number 224 Andy Hinchcliffe. Andy, of course, riding one of these iconic Honda 250 Elsinores, a bike that was reputedly to be Honda's first ever purpose-made production motocrossers, and when these bikes were released to the world in the early 1970s, Honda were selling them before they'd even made them, so these were very popular machines back in the day, and of course quite quick little bikes on the track as well. But just a couple of turns to go to see Andy Hinchcliffe notch up another race win. I think this could even be race win number 6 for Andy. Now in second place it's going to be this man here, Chris Story, and it's going to be Chris Chell who crosses the line in third.